What's up, guys? Welcome back to Karma Live Readings. I'm Karma, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell. All right, as you guys can tell, this is not a reading. This is not a reading. This is a new video that I have created. I've created a little slideshow. All right, so as you guys can tell from the title of this video, this is about toxic people, toxic energy. Okay, and so my goal is to talk about how to effectively navigate interactions with toxic people in your life. All right. And so I'm hoping to provide valuable insight to you guys and how to protect your peace. So just sit back, relax. It's a slideshow. If you do feel like this helps you, please make sure you like this video, share this video if you feel like other people need this information. I would greatly appreciate it. But before we get started and before we get into it, I do just want to say one thing. As I go through this slideshow and as I explain toxic behaviors and characteristics, it is going to be very normal, especially for those of you that are on a healing journey, that are on a spiritual journey, that have been reflecting and taking accountability of self. You are probably going to recognize that you might have some of these characteristics and some of these traits. If you are able to recognize that within yourself, that is beautiful. That means that you're already ahead of the game, because being able to recognize it in self means being able to recognize it in others. And once you recognize it in self, you can learn how to overcome said toxic trait so that you have it, but you don't act on it, right? And then it's going to help you discern in other people what they have and whether or not they're actively working on it, taking accountability for it, or is this an energy that you need to disconnect from? So my overall goal today is just to help you guys really be able to see these patterns, see these behaviors, understand the impact that they have on your mental, spiritual, and emotional health, and then also giving you the tools needed to set those boundaries and to stay in tune with them. So again, sit back, relax. It is just a slideshow. You don't really have to watch the video. You can just listen. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments if you like these types of videos. If you do, I will continue to do these types of videos on different various topics. All right, guys, let's get into it. So first things first, we need to learn how to identify toxic behavior. What are the characteristics of a toxic person? So there's some bullet points here on some characteristics of a toxic person. It's very important to note that when we talk about toxic people, that we're looking at behaviors that often stem from unresolved pain, right? This is unresolved trauma. These are people that haven't healed, that haven't taken accountability. And so these individuals may constantly criticize, manipulate, or show a lack of empathy just simply because they're projecting their own insecurities or wounds onto you or other people. All right. It's also important to note that recognizing these traits is not about judgment. This isn't about judging somebody. This isn't about pointing the finger and saying, this is what you have, this, that, and the third. This is about being able to recognize traits so that you can protect your peace and understand the energy that you're allowing into your space. Capiche? All right. So, characteristics of a toxic person: consistently negative or critical, manipulative and controlling, overly self centered or narcissistic, a habitual liar or deceitful, lacks empathy or compassion, and loves to create drama and conflict. So, what are some examples of toxic behaviors? Okay. Some examples are gaslighting. We have all dealt with a gaslighter at least once in our life, especially with these karmics. So, gaslighting is when somebody makes you doubt your reality. All right. Some more examples of toxic behavior would be passive aggressive or backhanded comments, playing the victim and always deflecting, responsibility. An emotional dumper, somebody who's just constantly dumping all of their emotions without any boundaries, undermining your confidence, and last but definitely not least, disregarding and or violating your boundaries. So toxic behaviors can manifest in so many ways, right? Just like these bullet points. These actions, the reason why they behave like this is to control and confuse you. The purpose is to try to keep you stuck in their energy. But once you give a name to certain behaviors, once you're able to identify a behavior, that helps you to reclaim your power so that you're able to step back and choose peace over chaos. Otherwise, when you are too involved in a situation or too emotionally attached and you're struggling with really naming it or pinpointing what this person is doing to you, that's when you get caught up. That's when you get stuck in their energy, right? And so let's talk about the impact that toxic people have on your emotional, spiritual, and mental well being. Okay. So some of the impacts are they can cause emotional exhaustion and stress, decreased self esteem or confidence because they're constantly talking down. You could have increased anxiety or fear, feeling drained and disconnected after spending time with this person. And you guys can also experience blockages and hindering on your spiritual growth. So, just the very presence of toxic people alone in your life can weigh heavily on your spirit. Okay. This will leave you feeling drained, feeling anxious, and questioning your own worth, doubting your creativity, and doubting your ability. So, protecting your energy is vital. This is like a life habit, not just for your emotional health, but for your spiritual alignment. This protection of your energy is not a one time deal. This is something that you need to constantly be in the space of doing. So remember that your peace is sacred and it's always, always, always worth guarding. All right. So we're going to move into understanding the dynamics, right? So the first thing with understanding the dynamics of toxic people is understanding why. Why do we become toxic, right? Remember, we're not just pointing the fingers at other people. We are all people watching this, and we all have toxic characteristics. So let's understand the dynamics. Why do people become toxic? Well, like I said before, people become toxic due to unresolved trauma and emotional pain, not healing, right? Fear of vulnerability or intimacy, patterns that they've learned in toxic environments, whether it was through childhood or through other experiences in their adult life. Also, insecurity that was projected onto them, again, through childhood, throughout their life. And also a lack of emotional awareness, not understanding what their emotions are, not understanding how to process emotions or handle emotions. So, truly, toxicity often begins within. Okay. And it stems from the pain, it stems from the insecurity, it stems from the patterns that a person has absorbed from their environments over time. And a lot of time, individuals do not realize that their behavior is harmful. Okay. And even though a person's behavior is harmful, you do not have to absorb their energy. And so once you understand, hey, I don't got to absorb this. I don't got to take this. Now you can approach toxic people with compassion while still honoring your boundaries. All right. What does the role of having personal boundaries, what does that role play in navigating your toxic relationships? Well, let's take a look. Saying no without any guilt, setting and maintaining your limits, you recognizing when you need to step back, avoiding enmeshment or losing yourself. So this is also heavily connected to attachment, okay? Make sure you're not attaching yourself to somebody. Also prioritizing your self-respect. So remember, your boundaries are your spiritual armor. Whenever we're talking about putting on God's armor, these are boundaries. These are limits in which people cannot pass, okay? They protect your peace and they remind other humans how they must treat you. Setting boundaries is not about separation, you guys, and it's not about creating walls. It is about creating clarity. So many of us are confused in our relationships, in our friendships, with our job, with our life, because we lack clarity. And the reason why we lack clarity is because we have no boundaries. We're letting people do whatever they want and we're not questioning them, we're not holding them accountable. Okay. So, setting those boundaries allows you to engage with love and grace, but at the same time, you're staying very rooted in your truth. All right. And so, how do we stay rooted in our truth? Well, that's where self awareness and self compassion come in, right? So, in order to stay rooted in our truth, we need to be self aware and we need to have compassion towards self. We need to recognize triggers and emotional patterns. We need to acknowledge our own role in the situations that we face without self blame. Acknowledging something doesn't mean that you blame yourself, it means that you just recognize, oh, okay, here's where I slipped up. Now I can fix it. Practicing mindfulness and being present in the current moment, releasing any guilt or shame from your past experiences and nurturing your inner child, right? Because that self awareness, that nurturing your inner child, that is your guiding light, collective. That is what's going to help you see and understand the patterns and dynamics in yourself and then in your own relationships. And once you pair that with self compassion, it becomes an extremely powerful tool for healing, right? And so by being gentle with yourself, you allow space for growth and transformation, which then makes it easier for you to navigate challenges with grace. And so, next, we're going to learn how to set healthy boundaries, which is also going to help you navigate challenges with grace, right? And so, one of the first things that you need to do with setting healthy boundaries is asserting yourself confidently and respectfully. And some of the ways that you do that is by owning your truth without fear, right? Using I statements to express your feelings, staying calm and grounded in conversations, even when the emotions are heightened, being firm yet very kind in your delivery. And here's the big one, releasing the need for approval. Okay. So asserting yourself is about standing in your power with grace. When you speak your truth, you should be staying grounded and use phrases like I feel or I need, okay? Because this allows you to communicate authentically without coming across as aggressive or defensive, right? Without coming across as confrontational. And so having confidence in your boundaries, like knowing that this is a boundary that you have to have, that reflects self respect, and then it makes other people want to honor it too, right? Because when you show how much you respect and love yourself, it makes other people go, huh, maybe I should be doing that, right? And so again, to assert yourself, you're going to need to be able to communicate your needs and your limits clearly. And so some ways to do that is by being specific about exactly what you will and won't accept from somebody. Okay. You do not need to over explain yourself or justify your boundaries. You just need to state them. You can state them while being compassionate, but using firm language. You can ensure consistency by consistently enforcing your boundaries. Okay. And the goal here is mutual respect. So, clear communicating to the other person, that's the key to setting boundaries that will stay. Okay, you need to be extremely specific about your needs. And you also need to remember that your boundaries are valid just simply because they matter to you. As long as you're speaking with compassion and you hold steady in your resolve, healthy relationships always thrive on mutual understanding and respect. So if you're not getting that mutual understanding or that mutual respect, hello, ding, 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 dealing with a toxic person. And so I want you guys to understand that these tools, these bullet points, and these explanations that I'm giving you guys, they're not just going to make the other person all of a sudden not be toxic. These are what is going to help you recognize whether or not you have a person that's on board with you or whether you're dealing with somebody who has not dealt with their own toxic behaviors, their own inner demons, right? This is what's going to help you say, okay, this isn't working because you're not respecting my boundaries, right? All right. So, another thing in setting boundaries is going to be learning to say no without guilt. You guys, no is a complete sentence. And so you need to prioritize your well being over pleasing others. You also need to recognize that saying no does create space for self care. Release the fears of disappointing others. People are going to be disappointed, they're going to be butthurt. Okay. It doesn't matter. Practice detachment from others' reactions. Do not let them project that onto you. And remember that saying no is one of the most empowering acts of self love. It is not selfish. It's not selfish to say no. It's necessary in order for you to maintain balance and protect your energy, right? So you need to remember that every time you say no to something that is misaligned, that means that you are saying yes to something that serves your highest good. So release that guilt so that you can embrace the freedom that you are bringing into yourself. All right, so let's talk about protecting your energy, which is pretty much where we're going here with this learning to say no, right? So, protecting your energy. One of the first things with protecting your energy is detachment techniques. Okay, so detachment techniques, they can help to minimize the impact of the interaction that you have with a toxic person or a toxic situation. So I always say this to you guys in readings, but it's so important that you observe and do not absorb. Observe, do not absorb. So that is emotional detachment. Emotional detachment is being able to be in a situation and just see what's happening and not become the emotion. Using visualization to shield your energy in the middle of an argument or a disagreement or dealing with a toxic person, you can start visualizing a bright white shield or a bubble or an encasing covering you, protecting you. Guess what? It does work because your mind creates your reality. All right. You also can limit your time and interaction with toxic individuals. Always stay rooted in your truth. Again, do not react to triggers and shift your focus to gratitude and positive affirmations. So, whenever we talk about protecting your energy, it does begin with detachment. If you visualize yourself with a light that repels negativity, will help keep you centered. Okay. This way, you can observe someone's behavior instead of absorbing their toxic energy, and you can see this is not me, this is them. They are projecting onto me. Their actions reflect them, they do not reflect me. And while they're trying to project this onto you, you ground yourself by staying in gratitude and say affirmations in your mind to help you stay in alignment with your highest vibration, right? So you can find some affirmations that you really, really like, that you resonate with the most, and remember those so that when you're in these difficult situations, you can repeat them in your mind while somebody is being a, forgive my language, but being an asshole, you know? All right. Prioritizing your own emotional well being is very important when it comes to protecting your energy. So make sure that you are scheduling time for self care, relaxation. Listen to your emotions, honor your emotions. Do not spread yourself too thin or overcommit with a toxic person. Make sure that you're only engaging in activities that uplift and energize you. This is where saying no is very important, right? And force yourself to establish routines that nurture your mental and spiritual health, because your emotional well being is your foundation for everything in your life. And so you need to prioritize activities that nourish your soul, whatever that is, whether it's meditation, journaling, or just taking time to rest, okay? Meditate, go outside for a walk. Because when you care for your emotional health, you actually strengthen your ability to handle challenges, okay? And you're more apt to respond to them with grace and resilience. All right. Another great tool for protecting your energy is seeking support from trusted friends or professionals. Okay. It's very important that you have somebody that you can communicate with, that understands you, that you can share your feelings with. Okay. Building a support network of like minded individuals, finding and seeking guidance from spiritual mentors and counselors. Also, maybe some of you should consider therapy for deeper healing and insight, because there's a lot of things that we can't do on our own, but that a third party kind of looking in can help us recognize. And also, start allowing yourself to receive help without any shame, fear, or guilt, or feeling less than, okay? Because we are not meant to navigate life alone. We're not meant to be alone, right? So reach out to those people who uplift and support you, whether it's friends, families, or, counselors, spiritual mentors. Remember too that receiving help is a sign of strength. I know that sometimes people think that when you ask for help, it means you're weak, but you're not. I just cannot, I cannot reiterate enough how much we are not meant to do this all by ourselves. And when you reach out and ask for help and receive help, it shows that you are truly committed to your growth and to your well being. Okay. So let's talk about moving forward. How do you move forward from toxic people? Well, one of the first steps, right, is ending the toxic relationship when it's necessary. So it's really important that that first time that you recognize that the relationship is no longer serving you, that you act on it, right? You can approach the situation still with compassion and clarity because you're setting boundaries. And even when you're moving forward, even when you're wanting to end something, you can set boundaries for a peaceful transition by refusing to interact in any low vibrational behavior. Okay. Accept that letting go is an act of self love and trust the process. Yes, other people are going to be upset. Don't hold on to guilt because you need to step away. And so sometimes the very most loving thing that you can do for both you and the other person is to let go. And it's also important to know that, another gaslighting tactic is to make you feel like you gave up, but you're not giving up. Ending a toxic relationship does not mean that you are giving up. It truly just means that you are choosing yourself and your peace. And so approach the situation with that. Don't hesitate to set those boundaries and trust that letting go opens the door to expansion and greater alignment and harmony in your life, right? And so when we're moving forward, we learn from our experiences. And when we learn from our experiences, we build resilience. So as you're moving forward, it's important for you to take that time to reflect on what this relationship or that relationship has taught you. See if you can identify the patterns and triggers again for future awareness to help develop your discernment. Take the pain that you've gone through with this person and turn it into wisdom and strength. Again, very important to practice forgiveness because this helps release you from the burden or resentment that is only heavy for you, not for the other person. And try to view and embrace all challenges as opportunities for growth because every single experience, even the painful ones, carries a very valuable lesson. Okay. And when you reflect on your journey and you're able to uncover those patterns, you gain valuable insights, right? And resilience is born from the ability to turn your challenges into stepping stones for your evolution, for your ascension. And as you continue to move on, you shift your mindset into focusing on positive relationships and your self growth. You're no more focused on what this person did to you or is doing to you or how they behave. You shift your mindset, okay? And you surround yourself with uplifting and supportive people. You invest in relationships that align with your values, not in relationships that keep you stuck in patterns. You prioritize your personal growth and spiritual alignment, and you celebrate your progress, and you constantly practice gratitude. Always, always, always keep your focus on love, joy, and authenticity. If a situation takes you off of that focus, then you should step away because as you continue to move forward and try to disconnect from toxic relationships, that means that you no longer have the time for it. So you want to focus on celebrating connections that align with your values and nurture your growth instead of harping over connections that have blocked you, right? Because you want to be able to focus on your personal journey and be able to honor how far you've come, not focus on everything you've lost. Focus on how far you have come. And as you focus on how far you've come, and as you stay committed to your path of love and joy, this is where you really tune into the true authenticity of who you are. All right, guys. So that's my little spiel deal. Let me know in the comments if you guys found any of this information helpful. There are a few other topics that I could do videos like this. Actually, I might just do them anyways and then kind of get your guys' feedback. But let me know how you felt about this. Some takeaways that I really want you guys to remember is, and I say this all the time, but every challenge is really an opportunity for you to transform. It's an opportunity for you to become better, stronger, more courageous, whatever it is that you're currently lacking or have a gap in, right? And sometimes you might not even be consciously aware of what you have a gap in. And another thing that I want to throw in there is, you know, sometimes God has placed a toxic person on our path specifically to help us because we need that specific challenge so that we can recognize something within ourselves, so that we can heal ourselves, or so that we can determine what a pattern is or a behavior is or what we don't like. Okay, so not everything has to be viewed as the end all be all, right? Because there is no such thing. We know that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. So you have this opportunity to take something that you've been carrying that is heavy, and you have an opportunity to turn it into light. And so sometimes putting these bullet points right in front of our face and being able to, like I said earlier, put a name to something. When you put a name to something, when you identify something and you recognize what it is, all of a sudden you can come up with a solution so much quicker. And the goal is to process these lessons, right? And to take them in, but we don't want to be too quick. We want to be able to take each lesson in stride and fully transmute and transform. All right, you guys, I send you so much love on this journey called life. I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.